Hello guys, and welcome to the channel. Today I am going to be pairing up my Spektrum DX5R and Spektrum SR6000T receiver to my Traxxas TRX4 Bronco. The Spektrum DX5R is a 5-channel radio, and I'm going to need all those channels because the TRX4 has the locking differentials, the high and low gear. Okay, so here is the inside of the receiver box. And this is the TQI receiver. There are 3 servos that control the high-low and the locking differentials. And also there's the ESC and the steering servo. I am also running a Traxxas 7286 power supply, which has a lead that plugs into the receiver. So I'll need to find a home for that as well. I also have a Y plug connected into the high-low selector. This way when I go into low gear, it sets the drag brake. This is an option that's set by the Castle Link for the Mamba X ESC. So what I'm going to do is get some double-sided tape, apply it to the back of the new receiver, and get ready to start swapping everything over. Okay, so now I'm going to just go ahead and start swapping over from the TQI receiver to the new Spektrum receiver. So channel 1 on the TQI is steering, so I'll go ahead and plug that on the STR spot on the new receiver. And channel 2 is the ESC, so I'll go ahead and plug that into the THR spot for throttle. I'm assuming it means throttle. The Spektrum receiver does not support the fin that is found on the Traxxas style connector, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off. Alright, so I just cut it off with an X-Acto knife, and I'll go ahead and put it into my auxiliary channel. And I will need to do the same thing for the 2 microserver inputs. And I'll go ahead and plug them into auxiliary 2 and 3. Everything is plugged in. So I'm going to go ahead and take out the old receiver. And I'll run the new antenna cable through the receiver box, up through the blue tube, get everything connected, and I'll be right back. Also too, if you don't know, you can just use a screwdriver to pry up the old receiver. The double-sided tape sticks pretty well. So a little screwdriver flathead will do the trick. So the stock receiver is removed. I'll go ahead and stick on the new receiver. Alright, it's a tight squeeze, but it does fit. Thank goodness. Okay, so the only wire that I left off was this red wire coming off of the power supply that controls the rock lights. I will get this hooked up. I just want to check out the manual before I do so. This will be put on before the end of the video. So what I'm going to do now is get a battery and go ahead and get this bound up to the radio. Alright, so off camera I got this bound up, and I'm going to go ahead and calibrate the ESC. To calibrate the Mamba X, all I have to do is turn on the ESC with the trigger pulled all the way in. Full reverse, and neutral. Alright, the ESC is calibrated. Now it's time to get my auxiliary channel set up. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new model. I'll call it my TRX4 Bronco. Alright, so I have the model name stored as the TRX4 Bronco. I'm going to go ahead and start assigning my auxiliary buttons and get the auxiliary channels programmed. Okay, so I'm in the auxiliary channel assigned. I'm going to go ahead and get this set up. Okay guys, so excuse the beeping of the ESC, but in the best and quickest way possible I'll show you how I have everything hooked up. So going into the main menu, just scroll all the way down to channel assign. I have my channel 1 set as input H. Input H is the button right here. And input H is for the high and low gear. Alright, so for my auxiliary 2 I have input G. Input G is the bottom of the 2. And input G will control the front locking diff. Alright, and finally for the rear locking diff I have input F. Input F is the top button, and input F will control the rear locking diff. And of course the throttle is working, as well as the steering. Alright, so we'll go ahead and give this a test. We will drive forward. I'm going to switch it into low gear. I have the crawler mode activated, so it's instant stop. I'm going to go ahead and put on the front locking diff. And I'll go ahead and put on the rear. Almost forgot. Almost forgot to hook up the power supply line. I have the power supply line hooked up to auxiliary 4. So the rock light should be ready to go. So the last thing I'll do, I'll go ahead and throw the receiver cover back on. One thing I discovered while putting on the receiver box cover, I'm going to want to have this receiver as close to the rear as possible. Because of the box design, the front slopes doesn't give you much room. It is tight, but everything does fit. And you always want to be careful when you put on this back cover that you don't pinch any wires. You can apply some grease to the inside to help waterproof it, as well as you can apply grease around the outer blue ring on the receiver box. I skipped this step for now because I want to make sure I have everything hooked up the way I want it to be. Alright, so everything's installed and ready to go. Now this probably will be the only car that will be hooked up with the DX5R for now. Each receiver runs about $60, $70, $80, so I'll upgrade as I need to. So that's about it. I just wanted to show you how to hook up a DX5R to the TRX4 Bronco. And if anyone has any questions, please feel free to post below, including any comments. If you liked what you saw, please click the like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.